Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
How are
Hi,
you?
Maria.
Hi, Ken. How you doing today?
Good. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. I know you're just over in the other room. we it's been
Happy Friday. It's
yeah, happy
TGIF.
Friday.
It's always good.
Yes. Happy Friday. Welcome everybody to REI Happy Hour at 5. Another Friday. We have a great guest today that we'll introduce shortly, but just wanted to say happy Friday to everybody. Thank you, Maria, for joining us. This was last minute. Danny, I got to give him the business. He's on his way traveling to a cruise vacation he's going on with his family, and he was supposed to be on. He was going to live stream right from his car while he was traveling, but something came up. So Maria, being a team player that she was able to jump on really quickly and be able to help us out here today. So thank you so much, Maria.
No problem. I'll always do a live. No problem. No problem. And plus,
Yeah,
I'm very excited about our guest. Like this person very much. Very professional. So I'm very excited to be hosting this today.
very cool, very cool. So let's just get into it a little bit. Why don't you talk about? We have one event coming up that we are sponsoring next Saturday. Why don't you just talk about that a little bit?
Well, let me see if I can share the video of it. Let me see. All right. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
No, you gotta take it off of mute up top, the speaker on the video itself.
Oh,
Que
oops.
sí. El evento se llevará a cabo en Resident Culture a las 9:30 el 14 de octubre. Será una buena oportunidad para ustedes aprender más, ampliar su conocimiento y conocer a otras personas que están en la misma red sociales de ustedes. No se lo pierdan, los boletos están acabando ya prontito, así que reserva el tuyo lo más pronto posible. Nos vemos ahí.
Okay,
All
so
right.
oops. Okay, look. Okay, so next Saturday, October 14th, the I Am Legacy group, they're having a legacy event where it's going to be in Resident Culture and which is a brewery. It's an all day event, a lot of great guest speakers. It's predominantly for Spanish speakers, but there's going to be Ken's gonna go. We have Zach, who's our guest. He's gonna be there. So there's gonna be a lot of good ways to talk to, network with people, and also hear from some of the top investors and people that are in that same industry of real estate. So I hope everyone can make it. There's only a couple tickets left, so come and get yours. So
Yeah,
it's next Saturday, the
definitely.
14th.
Yeah, I think we've been to quite a few events with I Am Legacy, and
Hmm.
they always put on a great event.
They sure do.
So we're excited. We're excited about it. It's coming up next Saturday, so only a week away. So if you want to come, go get tickets. There's only a few left. I definitely
Yes.
think they will be selling out probably in the next day or two. So
Exactly,
get that
exactly.
going.
Yeah, the VIP tickets are already sold out, so those are, and people are trying to get this. They're still trying to get them, but they're gone. So
Of
unfortunately,
course
those
they
are
are.
done. But
Oh man, I should have had some. I could have booked them. I could have sold them for like double the price probably.
right,
Darn it.
right, kind of like concert
Darn it.
tickets. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
maybe
I
I'll
know
do
what
that.
you
Maybe I'll do that next time.
mean.
I'm gonna buy some up and then resell them and make some extra money.
Correct, correct.
But anyway, so let's get to my favorite part, where we just share what we're drinking. It's kind of funny because I don't want to spoil it, but we are drinking the same thing because I just made her this martini right before we started, not thinking that she was going to be on. But we are both drinking Tito's martinis, dirty martinis. Is how I like it, dirty.
Extra
Which
dirty.
Yeah, extra dirty. This one I didn't make extra dirty. I tried to keep you in consideration, and
Thank you. I
I know you
appreciate
don't like
you.
an extra, so it's not too bad. So cheers, baby.
Cheers.
Ooh, see, I think that's good. I think I know how to make a martini. But
You're being
anyways,
delicious. All right, so we ready
that
to introduce our guest?
yeah. So let's introduce our guest. Let's bring him on. Our guest today is Zach Thomas with 24-hour closing. So thank you so much for joining us, Zach.
Hi,
I
Zach.
appreciate. Hey, how are y'all? I appreciate y'all having me on. I love what y'all do, love working with y'all, and I'm excited to be out there with y'all, next Saturday.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
And
We're
long time
excited.
no see. We just saw you last week. So,
Yes.
we
Yep.
were out in Wilmington. That was a great event that was put together. So, it was awesome. We had a great time. Love
Zach,
Wilmington.
I know that you today, I'm sorry, Ken, I know that you're going, can you tell us a little bit about the event plannings that you're doing, a lot of events that you're doing in the Wilmington area?
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea.
Before we talk about the title companies, any questions about that?
So we try to be a little bit more involved in the community. Our last one was actually for charity. It was for military. We were actually able to give away a tiny home to a veteran at that one, and
Awesome.
was able to raise a good bit of money for Homes for Heroes. But once a month, we do a group meetup in this area, in the Wilmington area. Is a Q&A. I feel like it's important to have people like yourselves to be in front of those people that need it. We do this every day for a living, but most people don't understand the process of a closing. They might sell one or two in their homes in their life, and they're kind of most of the time need somebody to help walk them through it. And so it doesn't matter if you're buying for your family or if you're buying for investment. I feel like it's important to get the education and the information out to the people that needs it. So we are in the process of doing an event now, planning it. It's going to be on new constructions and rehabs.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
We'll
one.
have a bunch of different panel of home builders, developers, lenders, that type of thing that kind of walks you through what to look for, what to see. You'll get to hear some of those monster house horror stories of everybody has it. You walk in after buying a house, and then you find the foundation's messed up, or you've got mold or termites. So we do that once a month and try and get that information out there to clients and help connect people to people like y'all, who can help get things done. Because in the end, real estate, it takes everybody helping out.
Sorry. This is what
Somebody's
happens
got a
when you're
big dog.
live. You got a dog. Someone's coming in the house. Typical unexpected. So it happens. Sorry.
But thank you, Zach. I know that you work very hard in your community. You're trying to get everyone together, and we've been to 2-year events, and we see how successful they are, and we appreciate all you do for the community. So I'm glad that you keep growing that networking over there, and they need people like you over there. So
Yeah.
Well, in the end, it's if everybody comes together to help each other out in the real estate world, it helps the community, it helps the economy, it helps everybody win. So, and that's where it should be at. A lot of people forget there is a human part to real estate. And I try to push that it's not just numbers, it's not just land. There is actually people's lives that are involved in it.
Right. That's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you personally do in your world of business?
I am the branch manager in the Wilmington area for the 24-hour closings. I handle the marketing, networking. I wear all kinds of hats. Our firm is one that we push wanting to be your support team, whether you're buying a home for your family or investment. We try to be a little bit more old fashioned. It sounds bad. I've had lots of people tell me I made that mistake. Everybody's got my cell phone number. My card has my cell phone number on it because I understand that people look at houses on the weekend. They might have a question. They might need to call. There might be some type of emergency. So we tried to be more hands-on on this situations. Like I said, whether it's your first home or it's one that you've bought 20. We want to be there for everybody to help them out. Because in the end, it makes everybody's jobs easier, helps prevent issues. Our firm will handle any closing in North and South Carolina. I think that's a key part. And also why I like working with y'all is you got to be flexible in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Things arise, you can't tell you how many closings we've done where last second something changes. We got to be able to, fix it. Our firm is able to, partner with a mobile notary service that enables people to close pretty much anywhere. Whether it's, we've been involved a lot recently with the military guys that are buying homes in this area. Even if they're in Germany or Japan or Korea, we still are able to make it happen that they can sign for their loan packages and get it done. They don't have to necessarily wait till they get back to the States to have their family home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The flexibility that you're offering your clients. And so you're with 24-hour closing. How long have you been with this firm?
Oh, I've been with 24-hour closings total about 6-7 years now.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It seems a lot. It does not seem like it's been that long, but I've been with them about 7 years. We have 5 different locations. We just opened our branch here in the Wilmington to serve the East Coast area. We noticed the growth that was coming to the area and the amount of people that are wanting to buy here, move here. So we wanted to have that brick and mortar location to be able to have that support and have people able to come in and talk to us and sign their closing papers and kind of network and help them get things done.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, can you tell us your locations? I know you say you have 5 throughout North Carolina.
Yeah, so we have one in Gastonia, we
Mhm.
have one in Salisbury, we have one in South Charlotte, one in Matthews, and one in Wilmington now.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. Nice. Nice.
And
Nice.
hopefully, if things go good, eventually we'll have one in Raleigh.
Ooh, okay. Okay. That's awesome. You guys are growing. That's great. One of the things when I moved to North Carolina, one of the things that I loved about 24-hour closing, besides you being part of it, but I love the name 24-hour closing. Is so catchy. Whoever came up with the name, it's catchy. Love it. Love it. So is it 24-hour closing? I mean, Kate, what's the fastest closing you've done?
Everybody asks that.
Okay.
Everybody does. And trust me, I've done, like, if you call me and say, hey, I want to buy this, but there's a foreclosure on it, it's getting ready to go up to auction, I've been able to do it in an hour or in a day.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now,
Oh, wow.
I get that all the time. 24 hours. Does that mean we can do a closing in 24 hours? See, that's a mixed thing. Sometimes we can.
Yeah.
If title if there's a relatively clean title,
Mm-hmm.
we can. We usually can get title back in 24 to 48 hours. But then there's instances where there's a lot of estates and heirs and things like that. And there is still places in South Carolina, there are still counties that use carrier pigeons and stone tablets that we have to actually send somebody there and dig through the boxes to find what we need. And you can imagine just a library of boxes and you actually flip through to find the deed. It takes a little bit longer. But mostly, I mean, we can do them relatively fast. So we kind of
No,
realize.
yeah, we've worked with you guys. You guys are pretty straight to the point, very quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be some problems sometimes that's outside of your hands.
But and my thinking is I don't want to be the person that a day before closing is like, there's an issue on title we need to fix. Your
Right.
closing's going to be delayed. But if we get it done at the beginning, we can go to people like y'all and say, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're trying to fix. And everybody can get on board to fix these issues.
Definitely.
Wait until last second has never been, in my vocabulary because it just drives me insane.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And I can attest to that too, because you guys are actually working on a client of mine right now. And it's actually, it's a breath of fresh air, because title, you guys, I've dealt with many title companies, not bashing any of them, but it's nice to see that, like, you guys are already asking questions. you're already asking stuff, and we haven't even gotten the appraisal back yet. Like that's awesome. Like you're so proactive, where most other title companies and attorneys and stuff like that do this, it's like, okay, we're pretty much a week away. Okay, now let's start. And that's where some problems come up, and then it lengthens the
Good point.
process and along.
Good point.
But the fact that you guys are already working on it, this early in the process, I think is a great example.
Well, and you really don't know. And so if you start that line of communication and start looking into things, and being proactive, it does. It prevents a lot of grief. If there's a delay, you got to think that delays the seller selling their home. And at the same time, 90% of the time, they're buying a new one. The buyer usually has movers and everybody else lined up. So trying to stay on that schedule, being proactive, fix issues in the beginning makes everything a whole lot easier. And that's why, when you do a closing with us, now, yes, you'll be able to call me, you'll be able to call your paralegal, you have those open lines of communication. With me, it's phone, text, email, but you also have our online portal system. So your seller and buyer at any time can log in and see where at in the process that we are. They can see and fill out the documents online. They can see if the search is done. If there is anything that we are needing, they can go ahead and do it. In this day and age, everybody's so busy and everybody's going so many different directions. Things like that just make the process a little bit easier. It's already a stressful time anyway. And, buying a house is honestly the most anybody's going to ever spend on a single object. So little things like that we do help keep that process smooth and help keep it going.
Awesome.
Oh, nice. So you actually, it's great because I think you already answered some of the questions I had, but one of the I know you said, I want to ask this because I want to see if there's anything else. I know you mentioned mobile notary, which I think definitely helps out and makes yourself and your office and branch so much more flexible. But is there anything else that you could talk about that simplifies property transactions for buyers and sellers that 24-hour closing does?
The biggest part is, and this goes to everyone, it doesn't matter what firm you're in, to have that line of communication with your sellers and buyers immediately, and even your lender. One of the things that we immediately do is the second we get a contract, we go ahead and send out all the emails to the realtors, to the lenders, to everyone saying, hey, this is your paralegal. These are the forms we need. Our info sheets are important. A lot of people don't think about it, but they give us the information to do our job. So we try and open that line of communication and do that immediately. We also offer various ways to actually send earnest money. We use payments. It's like Venmo that you can just scan and send your earnest money over.
That's different.
You can do a wire, you can do a check, but everybody has their phone on them. I don't want to go to a bank and send a wire, and a check. Honestly, I don't trust the mail nowadays.
I know.
Just being able to, they see that email, they scan the QR code, and are able to send earnest money through a secure insured portal, makes it a lot easier for the borrowers.
Very nice. Very nice. And I can attest to that. Communication from a title company is huge. Maria and I deal with it all the time, and it's obvious when you have the title companies that do communicate very well and the ones that don't, and it makes a huge difference in the process. And the ones that communicate, like yourself, it makes the process a lot easier and more smooth and more likely to everything to happen on time. And the ones that don't communicate, I would say probably 90% of the time, the ones that don't communicate, we either have to ask for an extension, like something comes up we have to extend everything because the communication wasn't there. So I completely get it.
Well, and that goes both ways. I can attest to the fact that I've sent y'all clients. I get the question all the time. Hey, I'm looking to do this. I need referrals. I've sent y'all clients, and you're talking people that are new to the real estate world. I deal with a lot of clients, and that they don't necessarily know how mortgages work. How monthly payments, all that stuff is structured. And having someone like y'all that I know I can refer over, and y'all able to walk them through the process, and keep it in y'all have the client's best interest in mind, helps a lot.
Yeah.
Communication's key in any business,
Yeah.
whether it's the title company or the lender. We do this for a living. They don't. So it's up to us
Exactly.
to be able to ask the questions that need to be asked and kind of lead them through the process. Otherwise, they just kind of roam around and don't have a clue what's going on. I've been at other firms where I don't get it. It should be a crime. You email your law firm and you wait 3 days to get a response, or you call and you don't ever get a call back.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and to me, all the while, all that tells you is if you're buying a house or you're selling it, that they're ignoring you and they're not doing any work on the property.
That's true. Definitely. So tell us a little bit about tell us a difficult situation or difficult transaction you had to go through, and you feel very proud of it because you went above and beyond. Your group went above and beyond. Tell us the problem. I obviously you don't talk about the person, but just tell us the problem so we can see some of the problems that you guys deal with.
So that makes me I've got some, because I'm a sucker for, if you come to me and ask for help, I'm going to help you. That's just who I am. I had a client that he wanted to buy the property. It was land. It's actually in Gastonia. The seller wanted to sell it, but he had already been to one firm. That one firm ignored him and pretty much told him, you can't. It's going to take too much work. We're not doing it. So it did.
Wow.
It took me 8 months on this closing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you see your eyes. It
Wow.
took 8 months because there was close to 27 heirs, and right at 14 of them were deceased, which means their
Oh, gee.
heirs
Wow.
were involved. The search had a stack about this high. It took a while, multi-state. We had to arrange and get a state's transfer from New York, which, side note, New York is still horrendously backed up. There's
Oh,
people
gee.
there that still do not have a birth certificate filed with the state that
What?
was born 2 years ago.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
Wow.
it took us a while to get all the pieces in line, to get all. And it sounds bad. A lot of times, how I describe my day job is herding wet cats. When you get 27 people all going different ways, you have to get them to come together in one place at one time and do what needs to be done. But we did. It took us a while to get the paperwork, get the title cleared, get everything handled, but we were able to close it. The
Oh, wow.
seller was able to get actual, walk away with some money. He was an older fella. He was in his 70s. He just wanted to retire. He
Oh,
just wanted to go off to the beach and live happily. The buyer was happy because now they're putting a neighborhood in that area. So it did help
wow.
the area, the economy, all that. It just took a long time. And
Well,
Yeah.
one of my big things on that is everything's fixable.
mhm.
The title problems are fixable. It just has to take time. And so if you do have that communication, the seller and buyer, and everybody's on the same page, it can be done. But that's just one of the, horrible, you know, long, difficult closings I've had.
Wow, that's definitely long. Holy moly!
It was long. I thought it would never end, but it was it was a nice day because when we closed it, you know, I actually still keep in touch with the seller. You
Oh,
know,
nice.
you know, because working that long together on something, you know, you kind of keep in touch with them. But yeah, no, we all went out for drinks after, because after 8 months on one closing and everybody
Mm,
gets,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, it's a celebration.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So did you guys have to go like how did you find all the family members, the heirs? Is it just going to different places or did you guys do that or how did it because I know other title companies wouldn't be doing all that running around.
So we will help, and it
Mhm.
also in the end we depend a lot on that from the
Mhm.
seller and the family members. A lot of
Right,
people
right.
think we have access to everything out there. We know exactly
Like
who's
a private
who.
investigator?
Yes,
I know,
yes,
really.
yes.
I used to think that you guys did too. I used to be like, they
We
must know.
don't like
Okay.
we don't
So it's been
know.
confirmed, everyone that's watching. No private
No,
investigators.
no. This one though was a two-part one. There is a lady called Legacy Property Group, and she is out of Matthews Mint Hill area. She does genealogy searches.
Oh.
Um, she does great. She knows what she's doing. And so she will get in there and work with the law firms, because
Oh,
usually,
that's awesome.
if you have a difficult one, usually I can refer them over to them. They are able to go through, they pull census records, birth certificate, death certificates. Um, she builds the family tree with actual document proof to get this done and us be able to find exactly where they're at. Um, Once that's done, it's easy. It's more or less
Yeah.
getting everybody on board to understand, hey, this is what needs to happen. But
Wow.
no,
Wow.
we're not private eyes. I can't just open my computer and be able to tell you every single person that is your
That's related
family and
to
where
me.
they live at and stuff. Like, it doesn't work that way. We do need help. We do
Okay, sounds good.
depend
Noted.
on the clients to help kind of guide us with the information. We know what to
Right, right,
ask.
right.
We just don't know the answers.
Got it, got it.
Got it.
Just
Got
a
it.
question. I had a situation and I think I already so I know there can be well, let me talk I'm gonna ask you two questions.
Okay.
So we have programs that I can close within 3 days. If there's no title issues, can you guys do that?
Yeah.
Let's say I submit this. Let's say I submitted today, Friday. Let's assume Monday wasn't a holiday. Can we close by next Wednesday?
Yeah.
No title issues. Obviously, if there's title issues,
Yeah, no,
we have to
if you're
extend that.
talking a buyer, a seller, the
Yeah.
seller is just got a mortgage,
Yep.
especially if the seller is on board and helps us get that payoff. Yeah, that's no
Yeah.
problem.
Awesome.
Usually, I mean, I think the fastest we've got a search back in Mecklenburg County is 2 hours.
Okay.
From start to finish, reviewed everything. You know, so yeah, that type of thing we can pull off. You know,
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
and all I ask is, when you have something like that, email or call me. Tell me, hey, I've got this issue. We need to try and, escalate it some, because we want to try and get this done, or the rake locks get ready to go out, or we had one where the buyer was being deployed, to Germany. He wanted to get it done before he got deployed, because trying to get loan docs over there and then back, it
Yeah.
just becomes hard.
Hmm.
So yeah, you just call, tell me, email me. This is what I have. This is what I'm trying to do. We'll get it done. You know.
The other question, you guys are is there I don't know if this is just in Mecklenburg County, but is there like a delayed with surveys? Have you noticed that? Like throughout North Carolina?
So that's pretty much everywhere in North and South Carolina. I think that
Okay.
has to do, especially in North Carolina, with the amount of people growing are coming here. Like Brunswick County. The United States does a census report about the fastest growing counties in the United States. There's only one on the top 10 on the eastern seaboard, and that's Brunswick County. You wouldn't think about it,
Oh wow.
but you're talking thousands of people move here a year.
Wow.
Charlotte for the last couple of years would get right at 170 people a day move to Charlotte Mecklenburg. So I think the amount of growth, yes, there is a delay. There's great companies out there though. Bateman Civil Survey, I'm going to give them a shout out because I've worked with them. I have sent clients to them, and they usually in the Southeast can get it done within a week or two.
So I got a question. So people that are watching that are brand new, what is a survey exactly?
Okay, so survey doesn't necessarily happen on every closing.
Okay.
But a survey is your property lines. They will come out, measure your property lines. The surveyor transfers it into what is the legal description or Exhibit A. A fun side fact is North Carolina is one of the original 13 colonies. Our legal description in our 13 colonies is completely different than, say, Texas or Ohio. We still use the same legal descriptions called meets and bounds as George Washington.
Oh, wow.
A little hard to understand.
Good history right there.
A little bit of history.
Yeah, really.
A little hard to understand, but a survey is necessary, especially if, say, you're going to put a fence up or you're wanting to build. You're going to need that survey. If you are in a contract and you are wanting to build or you want to do something on it, and you're looking at the property, go ahead and start talking to surveyors because you don't want that delay in closings.
Yes, that's one of the issues I'm having right now. So yes,
you need to call me after this. I will give you Anthony's number and email. You tell him I sent you. He'll be able to help you. They do surveys anywhere in the Southeast. They have surveyors from Florida all the way up to Virginia over to Texas.
Awesome.
And they will do it within 2 weeks, and you're not talking, it won't kill your budget.
So the other question is, you said at the beginning, some properties need surveys, some don't. So how do you guys know? Because we didn't know we needed a survey until the title company said we need a survey done. Our bank doesn't require it, but the title company did. So it seems like it depends on this. I don't know if it's I know in Texas, they always require it for some reason.
Yeah.
A lot of my closings in Texas, they require surveys. But in North Carolina, I haven't really seen it until just recently. So when do you require it?
So
when there's nothing.
Go ahead. When we require it, what we see is when we take a look at what's called GIS, which is your geographical mapping for the county. They show everybody's property lines. Between that and the legal description, or if the legal description has been, everybody's human. So over like the last 20 years, if a property has been transferred from person to person, there is instances where those transfers, something has messed up in the legal description. I have seen times where whole property lines are missing.
Oh, geez.
Like it just looks like a C, and there's one side of the house is not there. Those are instances where we need a survey to determine those property lines so that that property can be accurately transferred to the buyer. Otherwise, and we've had one recently. We took a look at the property, at the legal description on GIS, and it was beyond messed up. The front porch had the line showing on, the neighbor's property. The back, storage shed was on 3 different properties. It was just all kinds of messed up. Those are instances we would have to get a surveyor.
That makes sense.
We try and kind of take a step beyond, and try and get the clients when those issues arise to people that can help them. Surveyors, lenders, whatever the issue. It's if we can kind of get them to who can help them, it helps keep everything going. But yeah,
Got it.
surveyors sometimes it's needed, and there's always a reason why. So if you ever get somebody like us saying, "Hey, we need a survey," there's going to be a reason why, and don't be afraid to ask, because we will always have a big explanation of why it's required.
Do you recommend? I mean, sometimes even if you guys don't require it or the bank requires it, you as a buyer, would you if there hasn't been a survey in a long time, would you recommend? Would you want to do it as a buyer?
I would personally. Now, I'm not saying
Okay.
I wouldn't do it if I knew it was going to delay the closing,
Right,
but
right,
I
right.
would still do it even after the closing happened, just so that I knew where the property line is. If you're putting up a fence or doing anything, grading,
Yeah,
landscaping, whatever, be aware where your property
Yeah.
line is. That
that makes
is
sense.
that's an issue that always ends up in disputes. You
Hmm.
put a fence in, then you're going to have to move it and stuff like that. So personally, I would get a survey no matter what. Um, it's not required; you don't have to,
Right.
but it's always good to know what you're buying and where your lines are.
All right. So now I have another question. Sorry, this is I always get questions. I have another question. I'm thinking of. So I have a question. So when you're doing, let's say we do a closing today, the taxes the taxes that are getting the taxes that you guys put in the little HUD, right? Well, the taxes, is it up to today's date, or because right now we're in October, are you paying it off for you put the
Oh
taxes
yeah.
on until the end of the year?
So taxes
I get that question and I don't know how to explain it to my clients.
taxes are weird. If the tax bill is due, so like right now, Charlotte Mecklenburg, that tax bill is out. New Hanover County, that tax bill is out. Uh,
Okay. And those are quarterly, right?
yes. Y'all talk. Give me a second. Let me get my charger. My batteries get ready to die.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Oh
Sounds
yeah,
One
good.
yeah.
second.
Go ahead.
One
Go ahead. Go
second.
ahead.
No, but I wanted it, whoever's watching right now, all of you guys, I wanted to know because I know that, and I don't know if Ken, you've had some of my clients, they get a little confused. And I know each county works a little bit different, but sometimes what happens is they'll do a closing and then within like 2 months later, they'll have a new tax bill. And they're like, wait, I thought I just paid my taxes. But then when I call the title company and, we call the county, we come to realize that they just paid up to that quarter. So I wanted to know from Zach's perspective in a title company,
Okay.
how do they determine taxes?
So it depends on type of year, time of
Okay.
year. If the tax bill is out, which we will
Okay.
tell you, it will show as paid on the HUD. Um, the seller will be paying from January 1st to when they close. The buyer goes ahead and pays the rest of the year.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
keep in mind, it's the county. They don't work
Mm-hmm.
fast. Even if you close today and we pay the taxes off, there's a great possibility within this next month you're going to get a tax bill. Don't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a client pay taxes twice. When they got a loan, they forgot it was escrowed in. They paid the taxes, so did the lender. The tax man is not nice when you ask for money back. It's a pain. So if the tax bill is due and out, yes, that's paid at the time of closing. If it's not out, usually from July earlier, it's not going to be out. Then what happens is the seller gives the buyer a credit for the property
Oh.
taxes owed. So from January
Mm-hmm.
1st to whenever his closing date, they just get a credit because there's no tax bill to pay.
Right. Right.
So then they
Okay.
will still get a tax bill.
Got it.
So rule of thumb, if the taxes are out, we're going to handle it. If the taxes aren't out, then the buyer's just going to get a credit and they're going to be required to pay it when it comes due.
So usually, is the seller who pays it, right? If it's out, or it depends. Assuming they didn't put anything in the contract, who pays it at that moment?
It's always going to be split unless otherwise said so in the contract.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
the seller is responsible for when they physically own the property.
Makes
So
sense. Okay.
January 1st to whenever they're going to actually sell it is the seller's responsibility for taxes. The buyer is for the rest of the year, and that's prorated on the tax bill.
Got it.
Even if it was before and the tax bill is not out, it's prorated using last year's tax bill.
Okay.
And it's just a credit to the buyer.
Got it. Now, one more question, Ken, before you go. I have another question. How much does it cost? I believe in Maryland. Let's say I buy a property we have a lot of investors that buy property under their names in cash, and then they'll do the refinance with us, or they'll do the bridge loan if they need the rehab amount, but then they'll do it under their LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a transfer, right, of the name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact. So in I want to say in Maryland it's 1,500. In the Baltimore area, how much does it cost in North Carolina to do that transfer?
Just like a transfer without a title search, or are you talking like a refi transfer to an LLC?
So we're about to refinance the house. Say the house is under my name. I bought it in cash. I'm gonna refinance it under my LLC.
No.
Isn't there a fee for that?
Yeah.
From the county?
Well, so you are still going to have what is called your recording fees, things like that.
Mhm.
And if you record the deed, you're still going to pay what is called excise tax stamps. If you're transferring it from your personal name to your LLC, and then you're going to refinance and do a quitclaim deed.
Yeah.
What a quitclaim deed is a non-warranty deed. What you usually do when you're buying property if I have bought property from Ken, I will go through what is, title, insurance. I'll go through a title search, things like that. But if I'm transferring property from my personal name to my LLC, I'm not going to sue myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you do a quitclaim deed over to your LLC, and then when they go to people like you for refinance, then you can just do the title search, do the lending, things like that. It really is going to depend on people like y'all of what the lender requires. If y'all would prefer that to be handled prior to the loan application, things like that, you can do it that way, or you can do it at the closing table.
Right. Usually that's the case. It's usually at the closing table. But I wasn't sure about the amount. A quitclaim deed, if you were to do it on your own, how long does that take? Because I've been asked that question. What's the average time, I guess, in North Carolina?
If you email me and ask me, it's going to be about 24 hours.
You're the man. Everyone follow Zach. That's the man.
we can get we can get the quitclaim deed and the paperwork drawn up. 24 hours, as long as everybody signs it, we can get it recorded.
Right.
If you're an investor, I can't reiterate enough that you don't want to hold your properties, your investment properties, in your personal name. How title works is if you get a lien on the property, it's attached to your name. And so if you own a rental property and your personal home, if you get a lien, well, it's going to be attached to your personal home too.
Right.
Keep business and personal life separate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We usually try to educate our clients to put it under their business name.
And
all of our loans are for business; they're for entities. So as well.
And a lot of people don't understand how that works with asset protection. But I did a whole talk for a group of realtors on why it's important to have LLCs and your asset protection for your investment properties and things like that. You don't want, say the real estate bubble crashes, God forbid, knock on wood, I don't want it to happen. But if it did, kind of like 2008, your personal home will still be protected even if your rentals start doing bad. You don't want your whole house of cards to collapse around you and you not have anything,
Yes.
So kind of keeping everything, separate and consolidated, it helps the long run.
Definitely. I agree. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, there was a lot of good information. This was the Marie and Zach show.
Sorry. Sorry. Danny, I see you writing in there off script, Maria.
I mean, it's fine. I'm just sitting here. I was gonna actually get up and start making another drink in front of everybody while you guys were talking.
Look. I wasn't ready to do the live, but I'm like, Zach's on it. I got questions.
I was really thinking about doing it to be funny. I was literally gonna get up and start shaking another drink while you guys were gone. But I sat back. This was a lot of good information.
I like to pick Zach's brain. He's so smart.
No,
it's good. I love it.
It's good. I mean, all the questions that we have for you, Zach, have been answered. I've been trying to think of something else. I would say this is a broad question. This will be the last question before we go. For with your real estate experience and property transaction experience, if there's best behaviors, and I know you've already mentioned some throughout this whole thing, but is there what would you give like best practices for a new investor out there with your experience and your background and where you're coming from? What would you give them when it comes to advice?
For my best advice I can give is find people like y'all or find people like me, people that work in the business in the actual state that you're investing on. I see a lot of people go to YouTube, see a lot of people go, on Facebook and watch, different clips and videos. This is how you're supposed to do it. Each state has different laws, which flies in Florida and Texas don't necessarily fly here. It's kind of like North Carolina has marital interest, meaning both husband and spouse own your home. South Carolina doesn't. Whoever's listed on the deed owns that home. I've heard horror stories of a wife getting mad at her husband and selling the house without telling him. And she has the right to if she's the only one listed on the deed. But the reason behind it is there's a lot of information out there. Find people like y'all that you can come and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. How do I need to do this, to be able to get my loan, how to be able to do this to get this done, or come to people like us that can say, hey, this is how you legally do it in North Carolina. Networking and having that support in village is going to mean that you are able to thrive in this business. Mm-hmm. You can't do it alone. I know I can't do it alone. We have a team behind us. Our attorneys and team work together to get things done because I can't do it by myself. I mean, it's the same as y'all. Y'all have a whole team of highly educated professionals that their sole purpose is to work together to make sure they get their loan. So reaching out to people in the world, even if it's other investors in the area that have, experience, or lenders, the law firms, go to some of these networking meetups. I'm going to be there next Saturday. This is going to be the fourth one I've been to. It's great because I'm a big believer in education. Real estate can change lives. And honestly, to get started just takes time to learn. That's it. Doesn't take much money to get started, to understand what you can do. And so events like next week is giving hundreds of people the information to start, that journey to, everybody's goal. My goal, I don't want to be working at 60.
Yeah.
I do real estate not only as my day job, but in the personal life. And because that means I can retire before I'm 60. I can be able to enjoy what I worked for, long before my body's like, I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. So having in the end, to conclude, having people like y'all, the people that help push education, help get the tools in front of people to make it work is, my best advice to people.
Yeah.
And that's the sole reason why my cell phone is on my business card. Because you can text me a question. I might not answer immediately, but I will answer.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Just not at 3:00
Very
in the
good.
morning because I had a client. He asked for an update on his closing at 3:30 a.m. I'm sleeping.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm not in front of my computer. All of the files stay at the office where it's secure. Nothing goes home. So if you ask me stuff like that, I'm not going to be able to answer.
Yeah.
And I might be a tad bit
Wow.
grumpy if you wake me up at 3 in the morning.
That is too funny.
And you want to give a
Awesome.
shout out before we leave to the people that say hi to us?
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even paying attention to that. So we have, if I start down, we have Juliet says happy Friday.
Hi,
Carla,
Juliet.
happy Friday, guys. Catalina, hello with cheers with the beer cans. Carla, thanks for bringing this value. Thanks for bringing this value to our community. We got Danny just clapping his hands, saying amazing. Yeah, Danny, what's up, man? You're supposed to be here. It's all good. Thanks
going
for
on a cruise, right?
Maria Board. Oh, he said it. He said it above it. He said thanks for Maria Board. Yeah, okay. So that's good. We have Maddie saying thank goodness it's Friday. Danny again saying Zach Thomas is the guy. We have Cesar saying thank you guys for the good information. Danny, gotta laugh at that. Maria going off script. Like I said, I should have been in the back doing the shaker. We have Caesar again. We wait for the information. No pun intended. I mean, I'm just going line for line here. Danny with the smiles. Danny again. Boom, baby. Boom. Zach,
He was
you don't
saying
know,
"boo baby" to his comment about network and how important it is.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny because I was gonna say it because I'm not even exaggerating. I think every single live we have, whether we've had a guest or we haven't, networking and building a team of people you trust around you is probably like, it's always mentioned. It's always like number one or number two. I think it's number one. But it's up there on the most important things. And it's funny, when you were talking about it and saying it, I was smiling inside. I was probably smiling outside too. But that's what he said, boom, baby, too. Because it's probably the thing we hear the most. And then we have Lou saying Jake from State Farm. And then we just put your information. So yeah, so that's the comments. So pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're pretty good to go. Bree, do you have any last comments?
No, thank you for the information. I'm happy I got to be on it so I could ask you these questions because obviously I went off script. But I usually when I'm in my Facebook lives, I normally just go by what I've been seeing recently and the issues that I had. So thank you for answing.
I know that. I mean, it's a good thing.
It's questions that sometimes a lot of investors have. So
exactly.
I'm the same way. You give me a drink and some good conversation, and I'll talk for hours. It's easy to talk about something you're passionate about. So
absolutely.
Yep,
if anybody's watching us, Zach will be there present October 14th for the Legacy event. So
come out and
if you have any further questions, he'll be more than happy also to answer you. And so we're excited to have you. We'll be there too. So next week, more conversations to come, Zach.
Yeah, more conversations. Look forward to seeing you guys. And thanks for coming on. And we'll probably in the future have you on again if you don't mind.
Well, I appreciate it.
Maybe we'll find some other stuff to talk about. But thank you so much, everybody. Happy Friday. See you later. Have a good weekend.
I appreciate